What happens when one of America's fastest rising political firebrands goes head-to-head with a sharp, seasoned television journalist on live national TV? You don't get a polite morning chat. You get an on-air explosion. This wasn't just another interview. It was a full-blown televised clash that stunned millions and shook the political media world to its core. Before we dive into this unbelievable showdown, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more jaw-dropping political moments and share your thoughts in the comments. Trust me, you're going to want to weigh in on this one. Now let's get straight to the video. The studio at Good Morning America buzzed with its usual early morning energy. Stage managers rushed back and forth, last-minute makeup touch-ups were happening, and the teleprompter operator looked nervous. In the center of it all sat Karoline Leavitt, calm, confident, and clearly ready for high-stakes television. Across from her, George Stephanopoulos shuffled his note cards, wearing his trademark smirk. He expected a smooth segment about her new book, but from the moment the cameras started rolling, it was obvious this would be anything but smooth, and definitely not friendly. "Good morning, Karoline. Thanks for joining us," George began with polished charm. "Glad to be here," Karoline replied evenly, her New Hampshire grit shining through. And just like that, the stage was set for a showdown nobody could have predicted. "So, let's talk about your new book," George began, his tone already skeptical. "You call it another conservative manifesto and say you represent forgotten Americans. But critics say you're just recycling old slogans. How do you respond?" Karoline's smile tightened. "Well, George," she shot back, "maybe those critics should actually read the book before dismissing it. Every single policy in there addresses real urgent issues." The air in the studio shifted immediately. Tension was rising. And George wasn't letting up. He leaned forward. "But isn't this just a pattern? A young conservative waving the America First banner, repeating the same old values? Are you really saying anything new?" Backstage, producers held their breath. This wasn't going the way they expected. Karoline didn't flinch. "Maybe the problem isn't that I'm consistent," she replied. "Maybe the problem is that Washington forgot how to represent real Americans. People in towns like the one I grew up in, where authenticity isn't a slogan, it's survival." The studio felt hotter now. The energy had changed again. George pressed on. "What about your experience?" You rose fast, some say too fast. "Are you truly ready for the responsibility that comes with your platform?" That question landed hard. "Irresponsible," Karoline repeated, her voice calm but cold. "Have you ever fought tooth and nail just to be heard? Ever had to prove your worth just to sit at the table?" Her stare burned through the camera lens. Viewers at home could feel the heat. "I'm not questioning your struggle," George countered quickly. "I'm asking about your responsibility as a national figure." That only fueled her fire. Karoline leaned forward, eyes blazing. "I never asked to be a savior," she said firmly. "I asked for the chance to fight for policies that help real people. What you call talking points, I call survival plans." The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Karoline's words hit like punches, and for the first time George started to lose his composure. "Don't you think," he pushed, "that with so many young supporters you owe them more than slogans? Don't you owe them a responsible message?" Karoline didn't blink. "I owe them truth. I owe them proof that you can rise up and challenge the system without selling your soul to it. I'm not here to play nice for ratings. I'm here to fight for people who've been ignored too long." Both leaned in now, voices raised, faces tense. George jabbed again. "But you criticize the system while benefiting from it. Isn't that hypocritical?" And that was the spark. Karoline shot to her feet, her chair scraping across the floor. And the studio fell silent. What happens when a country music superstar steps into the lion's den of daytime television and refuses to back down from one of the most outspoken hosts in America? The result? An explosive confrontation that left the studio audience stunned, and the entire show spiraling into chaos. Before we get into this unbelievable story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what you think about celebrities standing their ground live on television. That morning, Blake Shelton strolled onto the view set with his trademark confident swagger, tipping his cowboy hat to the cheering crowd. He was there to promote his new album and upcoming tour. Just another routine TV appearance. Or so it seemed. But Joy Behar had other plans. Well, look who decided to grace us with his presence, Joy quipped, her smile razor-sharp as Blake settled into his seat. Blake Shelton, the voice of rural America. Or should I say a very specific part of rural America. Blake's smile didn't fade, but his eyes narrowed slightly. Good morning to you too, Joy. Always a pleasure to be here with you lovely ladies. Oh, cut the charm offensive, Blake, Joy shot back, leaning forward. Let's talk about your recent comments about small-town values. You seem to think living in a small town automatically makes someone more moral, more patriotic than the rest of us city dwellers. The other hosts exchanged uneasy glances. Whoopi Goldberg tried to step in with a gentle redirect. But Joy wasn't finished. I never said that, Joy, Blake replied, his Oklahoma drawl deepening. What I said was that small towns teach you certain values. Community, helping your neighbors, working hard for what you have. I never claimed that made us better than anyone else. Oh, please. Joy waved her hand dismissively. That's exactly what you implied. You country stars love to act like you're the real Americans. What does that make the rest of us? Fake Americans. We're just as American as you are. Blake's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. Joy, you're putting words in my mouth. I respect people from all walks of life, whether they're from New York City or from a town with 3,000 people. Do you, though? Joy pressed on. Because your whole persona says otherwise. You push this idea that real America is out there in the heartland, and places like New York, where I grew up, don't count. The audience was silent now, sensing this was headed somewhere explosive. Sarah Haynes tried to steer the conversation back toward Blake's music, but Joy wasn't letting go. You know what bothers me most about this small-town superiority complex, Joy continued. You get to sit there and judge the rest of us while making millions of dollars singing about pickup trucks and dirt roads. You've been living in Hollywood and Nashville for decades, Blake. When's the last time you actually lived in one of these small towns you romanticize? For the first time, Blake's easy demeanor shifted. His shoulders straightened and his voice carried a sharper edge. Joy, I may live in Nashville now, he said evenly, but I'll never forget where I come from. I was raised in Ada, Oklahoma, population 12,000. My dad worked construction. My mom ran a beauty shop. I know what it's like to grow up in a place where everyone knows everybody. And now you're worth hundreds of millions, Joy snapped. You've got mansions, jets, the whole 9 yards. Don't you think it's a little disingenuous to keep playing the common man card?